In a field like public health, especially with what the country went through with COVID, there's no greater need for it now, to say nothing of, some of the pathogens that we're seeing return to mainstream consciousness. So no better time to put the emphasis on public health.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And, there's, in addition to there needing to be more young people interested in going to public health,
Yeah.
there are also a lot of older public health workers who are deciding that this is the right time to step back after the pandemic. And so we need younger people in the public health and healthcare workforce now more than ever, particularly in Maine, where again, we've seen a lot of folks retire from healthcare fields. As we think about getting ready for the next crisis that comes our way, whether it's an infectious disease issue, an environmental health issue, a climate issue, one of the core ways that we will be resilient is having a workforce that's ready to help people on day one. And that's what we're hoping this curriculum at Colby can eventually help do.
So speaking of workforces, you were, after playing a key role in the pandemic response here in Maine, you were then called to duty in Washington with the U.S. CDC. So talk a little bit about what that experience was like and what you were responsible for there.
Well, it was a tremendous opportunity,
Yeah.
and I was honored to be able to serve at that time period.
Yeah.
Much of my career has been in government service in the past 11 years, and to be able to move from state public health, which I had been doing, to the national, indeed to the international level, was quite an honor. It's different in a lot of ways and similar in a lot of ways. It's similar insofar as the core issues are the same. Measles outbreaks are measles outbreaks.
Right.
Ebola is Ebola. Yeah. However, at the CDC, your vantage point is national, if not international. Yeah. And so the implications of your decisions have far more ripples than anywhere else. But yeah. I will say, for my money, state government's where it's at.
Really?
State government is the right blend of challenging problems, essential leadership, and the ability to see immediate impact. And at the CDC, at the national level, sure, you deal with thorny problems just as you do at the state level, but you don't often get to see and hear about the impact that you're having. Yeah. But state government is where you get that blend of real experience, real problems, and a real impact that you can see when you go and talk to people. That's why I'm in Bangor.
Yeah.
I've been meeting with healthcare providers across the city to hear about what's going on so that ultimately Colby and myself can help engineer policies that are really helping people.
What are those healthcare providers telling you about what they're seeing and actions that need to be taken, policies that should be put in place if they're not already?
Yep. Well, on the healthcare front and on the public health front, we're hearing a lot about the concerns of Medicaid cutbacks, coupled with the challenges that we're already facing rural healthcare providers, whether it's on the maternity front or just on staying afloat if you're a small nursing home in rural Maine. Yeah. A lot of those are exacerbated by some recent legislative changes at the federal level. So I've been hearing just today and when I was here a week and a half ago, a lot of concern being voiced about that.
What do you know about the current outbreak and how it's being approached, and how does that jive with your own knowledge and expertise?
I've had the opportunity to meet with healthcare, public health officials, and providers across the city. And at the same time, there's concern about the outbreak, as there should be with any outbreak. What I've also seen and what I've heard is, again, the ways in which the healthcare, the public health, the housing, and the social services communities have all come together to try to get on top of this situation. HIV outbreaks in particular can be very slow moving. But like a lot of things in public health, it's kind of everything everywhere all at once. It goes along and it's not something you hear about until it's the only thing you hear about. And so one of the things I've been impressed by in Bangor is the seriousness with which a lot of the healthcare and social services providers are taking this.